Okay, now we are ready to draw this bird in proportion, which is a lot harder than it looks, even though it's simple shapes. So the first thing you're going to do is zoom in so that your bird is as big as you can get it on your computer screen. This is the zoom button. And so I'm going to click that and then click 100% and toggle it so I can see the whole thing. Okay? And then I'm going to start with the biggest shape. Now, what I'm gonna show you how to do right now is how to measure your shapes. Now, we are not talking about numbers. We're just talking about comparing one size to another. So, to draw this oval in proportion, I'm going to measure the length compared to the width. So, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna take a pencil, and you're going to put the tip of the pencil on one side of the oval and put your thumb on the other, and that right here, right, is the width of your oval of your bird. Then I'm going to not move my thumb. I'm going to compare it to the length, and I can see that the length is a little bit longer than the width. Only by a little bit though, right? Okay, so now it's almost a circle, but it's just stretched a little bit this way. I'm going to redraw that as best as I can in my sketchbook. Okay, I'll try to get the angle about right. And it's okay to do like lots of really light ovals to get the size you want. Then I'm going to compare this oval the same way. So see how this size doesn't have to be the same as this size. It's just the length compared to the width that matters. So I'm going to find this width and compare it to the length. And I think that looks about right. Right? So it's just a little bit longer than the width. So that is good. And if it wasn't right, then this is the time to edit it, when you don't have any details and it's just a circle. Okay, now I'm going to draw my other circle. So before I even look at the size this circle should be, first I'm going to kind of look at where it crosses the oval. So if I put a line going diagonally, I feel like that circle crosses at about the same point. So I'm going to kind of find that diagonal, make sure those are about the same, and then I'm going to do a little tick mark where this circle crosses the oval. Okay, does that make sense? Then I'm going to use my pencil to find out the width of my circle and compare it to the oval. Let's see, I feel like that is almost exactly half of the width. Do you guys agree? Okay, so up here I'm going to use my pencil and my thumb to find half of the length of this circle, and I'm going to use that to plan out where the other side of that circle should be. Okay, and then I can go ahead and draw my circle. Again, I'm not using my wrist movement. That's a harder way to draw circles. I'm using my shoulder movement. Okay, and then I can compare over here, is this a true circle? If it is, the height and the width should be the same, and they are. So I'll compare this, and those are the same. So we're doing good. Okay, now the tail. So I'm going to do a little tick mark where it crosses. Let's see which, if I draw kind of a line going straight down from the back, right? If I kind of do this, I feel like this is the point where the triangle crosses. So I'll do a little tick mark there. And then I'm going to find the length that my triangle is. I'm not going to really pay any attention to this edge of the triangle. That doesn't really matter, it's just extra. Okay, what I'm going to measure is from the edge of this oval out to the tip of the triangle. So I'm going to put my pencil on the tip of the triangle. Maybe, okay, or actually I could also I'll do this other tick mark too. This I feel like is about right there. Does that look right to you guys? And then I'll find the length. See how my thumb is at the edge of the oval? The tip of the pencil is at the edge of the triangle. So this is the length of my tail on this bottom part. Then I'm going to compare it to something on the oval that I've already got over here. So it looks like it's just slightly less than the width of the oval. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take a measurement that's just slightly less than the width of the oval. And then I'm going to put my thumb right here and make sure my angle is right. This angle compared to that angle. Okay. And then I'm going to make a little dot for the tip of the tail. Then you can go ahead and connect your lines. That's pretty intense, isn't it? Just for drawing 2 circles and a triangle. So you want to put a lot of effort into getting your shapes proportion just right, because then it will look a lot more realistic. So this is where you want to kind of triple check all your measurements before you do any details. That way you don't have, because you don't want to spend forever drawing a really nice beak and then realize, oh, it actually needs to be an inch this way. You want to get everything in the right place and then do your details. Now that you have practiced drawing your bird with correct proportions and you've like triple checked it, you are going to redraw these shapes onto your final paper. So we have not had a chance to get supplies to you yet. So if you happen to have nicer, you don't really want to use copy paper for this, but if you have some cardstock, or if you want, you can just tear a page out of your sketchbook and then sort of cut off very carefully the 3-ring binding mess. You can. But I would like you to have a separate piece that is your final from what you already drew. Okay, after you have redrawn your shapes really lightly, I forgot to say that before, you want this to be really light because most of these lines you're not going to see. You're going to set aside your sketchbook and you're going to put this right next to the photo of the bird on the computer so that you can draw your detailed outlines. And when you do that, you want to remember to pay attention like to where the eye is in the middle of the head. Make sure the beak goes in a little bit. And any lines you can find to just kind of show the edge details of the bird, you're going to go ahead and draw them. Also, you're going to draw what the bird is sitting on, if it is sitting. Okay, so I have started drawing most of the detail lines of my bird, and I just wanted to kind of show you some examples of how to compare your proportions as you're doing this part. So for example, my birds, when I look at the photo, the bird's feet are directly underneath, or the tips of the toes are underneath kind of the beginning part of the beak. So I'm going to make a few like planning dots for myself before I actually draw them. So that's where the tips of the toes are going to begin, and then the back corner of, I feel like connects there of the leg, and really on this photo only one leg shows, so that's what I'm going to draw. You want to draw it just like it looks. This is a project about really looking in detail at how a thing actually looks separate from what we think like it should look. Okay, so the leg goes almost to here, and then the toes, like we talked about, sort of come down, and there's the toenail. And then here's another one that's kind of curving around the top of this little birdhouse thingy, kind of like that. And then part of this leg is covered by feathers. We'll show that later. Okay, after you have all the detail drawings on there that you want, and you're sure everything is right where it should be, then you're ready. If you have your white eraser, that's the best thing. Pencil erasers are okay, but usually they don't erase pencil as well. The white eraser will erase better. You want to go ahead and erase the edges of the geometric shapes that you don't need anymore. Do some double checking with your pencil on that you kind of placed everything in the correct direction. For example, with this bird, I kind of placed my pencil along the back to make sure that's kind of this, and then I also put it on the photo. I put my pencil going vertically right here, and made sure that like the head was kind of in the right place behind that. I made sure that sort of like my beak lined up with like the middle of the wing, which lined up with the tail. I put my pencil so that the feet line up with sort of right below the eye and right below the beak. You know, so just kind of like whatever your photo looks like, find like good things to compare before we start actually doing color to get your detail drawing really accurate.